Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's G from Happiness and Crafting. Now today I'm going to just go through a few of the basics that I have on my desk all the time. Now this is great for beginners because it's really difficult when you're starting out to know what to buy, what's good and what's bad. So I've got a few things here. Some of them aren't really essential, but they're just pretty. Of course, my rose trim. But the other things, if you want to know what glue to buy, I'm just going to show you what I use. So I'm going to start off with the glues. I'm going to pop all these little bits to the side. Now, I really just use 3 types of glue. I know I got lots here, but these are the same. 2 glue sticks, and I've got the 3-in-1. Okay, so the glue sticks I use, these are just cheap glue sticks that I use. This is one from a supermarket. This is just a kid's one, which I picked up, you know, when the school supplies and stuff come out. So that's a good time to buy your glue sticks. And this is the one I use all the time. It's a solvent-free one. The make is MP. It's about €1 a little thing. There's 40 grams in this one. So it's just a normal, easy glue stick. Nothing really special about it. I know glue sticks can be really expensive, but I found this one and it's perfect. I use it all the time. I've had no problems with it, of anything unsticking. The main thing I have to tell you though is use enough of it. Some people use glue sticks and they don't add enough glue. You really have to use a lot of glue stick to make sure it sticks down properly. And I think that's where some people go wrong. They don't use enough. So make sure you really glue it down properly. So that's the glue stick. So just use, you'll probably find a favourite, but don't go too expensive. You don't have to buy a really expensive glue stick. Just try them out. 3-in-1. Now 3-in-1 is very similar to Fabri-Tac. I love this stuff. It's really, really good. It is a little bit smelly, so do be careful. But it's great for sticking anything down. So if you've got bits of fabric, if you're making little embellishments, I think it's worth investing in some 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac. 3-in-1 is cheaper than Fabri-Tac, I find, and I find it's just as good. It doesn't stick as quickly, so it gives you a little bit of wiggle room, if you know what I mean. So I always have the 3-in-1 handy as well. So that's those 2 glues. Now, the glue, I get asked a lot what glue I have in my little pot here, which is the fine tip little glue applicator. Oops, I just squirt glue everywhere. Now I put tacky glue in it. Now you can get all sorts of different types of tacky glue, different makes, but I generally think they're all basically the same. So I've got, this one is Anita's, you can get Eileen's tacky glue, this one is Tonic Studio. So there's lots and lots. So all as I do, I probably put in maybe just over 3/4 of a pot of water, glue, and then I add a little bit of water and give it a really good shake. You can pop the water in first if you want to. Doesn't really matter, but don't put too much water in it because you don't want it too runny, but you want it just enough so it comes out, because this tacky glue can be really thick. And I found it, a lot of you find it really difficult for it to sort of like squeeze through that tiny little hole. But do add a little bit of water, and just shake it up, and then just make sure that you haven't got it too runny. But do add water because it is so much easier to take out of the pot. So any tacky glue, I'm sure you'll probably have a favourite at some point, but don't worry about buying an expensive one. Just buy a nice, to anyone, tacky glue. This one I've used for years, the Anita's tacky glue. I've used this for years and years, and I've always found it's been really, really good. So all of the things that I'm showing you, I do have a link so you can take a look under the video. Okay, so distress inks or any inking, I always use the Tim Holtz, the Ranger Distress ink. And it's mainly vintage photo. So if you want to buy one ink pad to do some vintagey type things, I would go for the vintage photo because that is a real go-to ink. I have been using the ground espresso lately, just to get that little bit darker, and I've also got the vintage photo in the oxide. Now the oxide, it gives it a bit more of a chalky look, than the normal distress ink, but I like both. I do like both, but I would get the Vintage Photo just in the distress ink because that's a real go-to ink, and I think that sort of like does a lot of things, covers a lot of your inking. Another ink I would suggest as well is Stazon. Now this is a solvent ink pad, and it's fantastic because you can stamp onto anything that you like, and also it's water, you can watercolor. So if you sort of like stamp on something, you can color it in with watercolors and stuff, and it's not going to smudge everywhere. So it's a really good one. Now I know you can get a brown one, which I keep meaning to go and get, but I keep forgetting to order one, so I'm going to order a brown one as well. But I always go for the sort of like the jet black, because it's sort of like, if you're going to stamp, normally I would stamp in black. So that's a really good one because it's you can watercolor over the top and it doesn't smudge or anything like that. It's fantastic. So that's a really good one. I also use Stickles. I love my Stickles. It just gives it, it's just a glitter glue basically. And I think this is the best one. I've had a few glitter glues and they've not been really very good. They go through, they seep through the paper, so you can see it under on the back of the papers. Especially if you want to use it in your journals, Stickles is the best, I think, because you won't be able to see it underneath. The glue on the other ones seeps through and you're left with a mark on the other side of the page. Oopsie daisy. And I like giving a little bit of sparkle to different things like my butterflies and that, so I'm liking that. Okay, so the next thing I want to tell you about are these little pins. Now I get asked about these all the time. So these are called, I call them bulb pins. Some people call them gird pins, or they are like the little clothes pins that you get, which hang little labels off your clothes. But I've got a link down below so you can go and have a look and see what you think. But these are just so handy. They come in all sorts of colours, but I just go for the sort of like vintage look ones. I have gone for the black ones in the past, but the black, it's sort of like peeled off. I think they were sort of like painted or something, and it all sort of like peeled off, which I wasn't very impressed with. But these ones are fantastic. So I'm loving these. So you know, I use these all the time for tags and little dingly danglies that I like to make. So they are really handy, and they come in great big bags of them. So or you can just get sort of like a little pot of 100 just to test them out. But I love those. I use those all the time, so they're always on my desk. The other thing is paper clips. Now I don't have a link underneath for paper clips because you can pick paper clips up anywhere, in the supermarkets or anywhere you like. If you find a packet of paper clips, buy them, because they're very inexpensive and they always come in handy, and especially if you get different sizes, because they can vary all your lovely embellishments. So that's a big one. That's the 2-inch one, oopsie daisy, and then that's the 1-inch one. So you can never go wrong with paper clips, and they all come in all sorts of different colours. So whenever you see any, just pick up a pack of paper clips up, because they always come in really handy. Now the other thing that I like at the moment are, or I've liked for a while, are these little Dobbers. Now these are obviously used for ink, and they are so handy. You just pop it onto your finger like that, and you just ink the edge of your paper. Now let me have a quick look. I'm not very organised here. Let me just get a piece of paper. Okay, these ones are quite worn out because they are well used. So they are so easy to use, and it's good for edging your card. So if you've got, if you're making little tags or something, they are brilliant. And then you just use them for different colours like that. You can go through stencils as well with them, but I'm just loving them, and they just pop back into the little pot like that, which are great. Now the other ones that you can get, not the Dobbers, but for inking, you can use makeup sponges. I've also got this one here, which is the Ranger, whatever it's called, I can't remember what it's called now. I've got a couple of different types of these, but I always go back to these. So if you're a beginner, I would suggest getting some of these because they are so easy to use, really easy to use. I don't get on too well with these because this is on this one here, you normally get like the felt pads, like these little ones here that come off, but on this one they kept ripping, and I really was getting quite frustrated because they when you blend it, blending tool, that's what it's called, silly Billy, they blend, but when it had the foamy one on, it kept ripping. So what I did, I bought some of this, which is like a felt pad. It's a self-adhesive felt pad. Now these are what you put under chairs to stop them screeching along the floor. So I bought this and then I just cut it to size and stuck it on the back of here, and it works really well. It doesn't bend, it holds onto the ink really well, and it blends it lovely. So that's good, but I do resort, if you're new, I would probably buy these, what I would suggest anyway, because I think they're lovely, really good, really handy and so easy to use, and a nice little case to put them in as well. Okay, so a few other things I'd like to tell you about are just little hole punches. Okay, now again, you need a hole punch if you're going to use some of these little clips. So if you're going to make tags and stuff, you need something to punch a hole in. So let me just get this. This one is probably 3mm hole there, and this is the one I use, which is a 6mm. Now this one is good for the top of a tag because it's a little bit bigger, and the smaller one is good for making your little dingly danglies, because these sort of like go through there a lot better, and then you haven't got such a big hole for this to go through. This is good for a top of a tag, where you can put some ribbon or something through. So to have two is quite good. So that's a 6mm one, and that is probably about a 3mm one, I would have thought. Let me just see if I can measure that. Let's have a quick peek. It's about 3mm, and the other one is the 6mm, so that's about right. So they're really good, really handy. And again, my lovely big scissors, love my scissors. I know some of you like to use little ones, but I love to have a big pair of scissors because I seem to have a better control over using them. Now I don't really want to tell you how to use a pair of scissors, but I find them a lot easier because you've got the whole length of this to use to cut. Now when I use scissors, I put my hand underneath, my fingers under this one here, and then go down because that supports it. Don't move your arm like this to cut round, move the paper. So move the paper around and try and keep your scissors still, like that. And then you will get so much a better control of your fussy cutting, your cutting. Let me just see if I've got something to fussy cut to show you. Let me have a quick look. Now I've got some of these. Now these are my new fussy cut DigiKit, like this, which will be out next week. So I'm just going to show you how simple it is to cut. So hold your scissors and hold your fingers underneath like that, just to support it, and move your paper, not your scissors, like that. And then just wiggle the paper around. It's so much easier, and to fussy cut it doesn't take any time at all. So just keep your scissors straight. I have told you about this before, I believe, but just move your paper just like that, and it's so much easier, like that, round down there like that, and that's it. And then you've got one lovely little fussy cut. So it's so much easier than, let's see, we've got a little pair of scissors. I only use these really for sort of like cutting thread, but you have to do so many more moves, and you end up with a jaggedy bit like that, which I don't like. And then it doesn't give you a nice neat finish, I don't think. I think it's a lot harder to do, and I tend to move my arm more, the scissors more, should I say. So I find it so much easier to use my big ones. So do have a go. So if you're a beginner and you've got, like, these are just kitchen scissors. They're not anything special. I've had them for years and they are fantastic. I just love them. And you get so much more control. Your fingers don't hurt here. Oopsie daisy. Because you can fit them all in and it's not squashing it in like that. So you just fussy cut, and I love fussy cutting, as you know. So there we go. So it's so much easier. So there's your lesson on cutting. So there we go. Let's pop those out of the way. So yes, I love my big scissors. The other thing is some paper trimmer. Now this is my grubby old paper trimmer. Now this is a tonic one. This is a 6" one, and it's a little, not paper trimmer, well it is a paper trimmer, but it's called a guillotine. So again, it's fantastic. Just cuts so easy. I've had a few of these and I'm loving them. So if you're going to get a little paper trimmer or guillotine, I would suggest getting something like this to start with, because it's so easy to use. Really is, and it gives you a really good straight line. I know that sounds a bit silly, but it does give you a really good cut on there, and it's a really good, so look, all the marks on here as well, so you can do all your paper. Look how grubby mine is. It's filthy. It's got glue and all sorts of things on it. Well used. So this is always on my table. And the other thing that I have, the other paper trimmer, is this one, which is my Fiskars. Now I haven't had this one ever so long. Let me just push all my other bits out of the way. This one I haven't had for too long, but I'm loving it. Really love it. So it's got the arm that comes out like that, and I do get through quite a few of the cutters though, which is really good. But I did get a tip, whereas when it's running out, when it's getting a bit blunt, should I say, if you want to cut something and it's a bit blunt, pop another piece of paper underneath, so you have like 2 layers of paper, and it will cut in a different way, just a little bit higher up on the cutter, on the blade. Not really explaining that very well, am I? But it seems to cut better if you put another piece of paper underneath, so you cut 2 pieces instead of 1, which works really well as well. But I love this. This is really good because it takes, obviously, it takes your A4 sheets of paper really nicely and cuts them. And I also use it as a scorer as well, so I can measure. So I wanted to measure this sort of like to score it 2 inches. I just get one of my little tools here and score it down through this line. So much easier than getting my scoreboard out. Just like that, and then you can just bend it like that, so you can use it as your scoreboard as well, which I like. So a 2-in-1 there. So what else have we got? Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. Some not essentials, but some of the things that I have on my desk all the time, and that is of course the rose trim. Now I get asked about this all the time. I have put a link down where you can buy it from Amazon, but I get mine from AliExpress. So if you wanted it quicker, I would buy it from Amazon, and if you don't mind waiting, I would buy it from AliExpress because it's cheaper. And you can get it in all sorts of different colours as well. I've just ordered some more colours. They got yellows and reds, so that's really nice. But this, as you know, I use all the time, and I think it is just so shabby and pretty. So yes, that's where it's from, AliExpress, and you can get it from Amazon as well. And the other one is Hug Snug. Now I use this a lot as well, which is seam binding. Now I always buy the white. I don't buy the coloured because I like to colour it myself. If I bought the coloured, you're limited to the colour that you bought. So you get 100 yards on here, and I don't really want 100 yards of sort of green if I'm only going to use a little bit of it. So what I do, I colour it myself. I either use ink pads or the Distress Oxide ink sprays. Now the ink sprays, I will go through and do a tutorial on how I colour it as well. I have done a couple, but I'll do another one on different looks on what you dye it with, so I will do that at some point. But yes, if you're going to buy it, it's quite expensive, but I would only get white if you wanted to save some money, because then you can colour it yourself and have as many colours as you like then. So that is my favourite Hug Snug. So, and then this is my cheesecloth. Now I love cheesecloth, as you know, because this and this just go together so well, especially if you want to make shabby looking embellishments and journals. I think it looks so pretty. So this is just a general natural cheesecloth. It's I've got a link below. I think it's a grade 90, this one, because that's the one that is sort of like everywhere. This is sort of like a kitchen one where you do jams and stuff with your fruit and everything like that, and strain things, but it's really lovely, and that's just a natural colour. So I'm loving this, and this you can colour exactly the same as you would the Hug Snug, the seam binding, so you can dye it any different colours that you want to. So all of this would all match in so pretty, so you can get matching colours. So that's nice. So that's the not seam binding, that's your cheesecloth. So I think probably that's about it. Oh, the other thing that I use are these, which is the lovely little gems now, and this little picker upper. I don't know what it's called. It's something that you pick up the little gems with. This is wax on here, and that's what is the easiest thing to pick up gems. It just sticks to it really well. And these are for nails. So this is nail art. It's a nail art kit really, so you can just glue gems to your nails. But I think it looks lovely on our embellishments that we make, and it looks so pretty. It's really pretty. So there we go, guys. They're the things that I have on my desk that I use all the time at the moment. It does change now and again, but if you start out, this obviously is not essential, okay, but it's pretty. But it's things like the glues and stuff that people sort of like tend to get confused with, and there's so many around that it's hard to sort of like choose sometimes. And I know money's tight and we can't afford to sort of like splash out on lots of different things. So I hope that helped you and explained a sort of few things that I use and where to get them from. So there we go, guys. I hope you're all safe and well. I hope you're looking after yourself and you've had a lovely crafty weekend. So thank you so much for joining me. Please do take care, and I will see you all soon. Alright guys, bye bye.